welcome to another edition of the Stocks is Talking podcast with Ibn Goods.
All right, what's good? Back with another one. And markets open. It's 9:53, and already missed a little bit of movement. Waiting for 10 o'clock right now. It was going to chime in a little bit. So right now we got the SPY up on a 5 minute. Probably going to go take a look at Apple. We got to play. I believe he entered a swing on Apple. Let's see. I'll check in with him and see which way he went with his trade. Apple looks like there's going to be a gap up on the daily. Yeah, big move up. Wow. All right. Look at it on the 15. See what we're going with. So it could keep going too. Let's look at it on the 5. We could come back down. Good play when you got a gap up is reverse to fill the gap. We go coming down. See. Let's see if that's set. That look like that could be setting up a flag. Not yet. All right. Let's check the 60 minute. Okay. Something to keep an eye on. We're going to talk about that when he jump on. And then let's get into the SPY. Nice move up. Broke this level here. Straight through it this morning. Got a big gap. Look at it on the daily. Big gap here. So it's probably going to be running. This actually might be a nice swing. See how the day plays out. So pretty much waiting for 10 o'clock. Got a couple screens going, so. So 15. So take a look back and see if there's any levels to be concerned about. Oh, we got a level here, here. Let's mark up this one here. Let's do right here. So we can keep an eye on that. Got one in here as well. In there. So we'll see if this will keep running or if it's going to come back down. We're way up on the 60. Yeah, we're on a 60-minute chart now. So see if we get a pullback. Wouldn't surprise me. All right, we got the 10 o'clock candle. Not much going on for. Got a little bit of volume. All right. It's decent. Nothing crazy. Keep an eye on this. No plays I really want to get into unless I was going to do some kind of hedge, do a strangle or a straddle. As far as options. So the straddle, we would go same position, both sides, calling a put, or do the strangle. You go one strike off from each other on either side. Basically, hedge your bet. I don't usually do that, so I'm going to wait for it to clear up and see what it's looking like. Would possibly consider this could just keep running. I would consider doing a small, putting a little bit on the downside, just because we're so far up there. Friday. It's starting to come down now. 465. There's a lot of open interest, a lot of volume. Don't like the delta though. Possibly go to 466. Delta's a little better. I like the delta above 50. Especially if we're gonna day trade it. I want to get as much as possible, as quick as possible. Those are the two. A lot of people in those positions. Right. So 74. I'm actually just on the paper trade account because I'm having an issue with a transfer. So they're not letting me. So I'm dealing with PDT right now. Basically, I'm in the 466 put. December 10th expiration. And got it at 274 to 304 now. Let's see. See if this pushes up. Been a while since I used this. I'm trying to remember how. Spread's kind of wide right now. Definitely not feeling that. spread this wide, I could take a loss, even if even if it's going not the right direction. It's going against me now, but I'm gonna sit on it. This is a good way to test the theory. It's actually a little clearer on the five. Let's look at it. See what's going on. So waiting to see is if this will keep running up to that next resistance, or if it'll curl over here. Since your bands are so wide open, you got this big run up. You got all this space here. So we'll see if it pulls down in here. This candle here, you're bullish engulfing. Looks like it wants to push higher. But we'll see. It's going for it. This is a good way to test out theories, especially on riskier trades. You'd set up paper trade and just watch it. The only thing you got to worry about with paper trade, a lot of them, is a delay. Let's see if it breaks it up. 2% on the day. Take a look at the daily chart and see what this was looking like yesterday. I can't say I wrote about that one. There it is. Down near the bottom band, so definitely would have been worth considering, but I don't know if I would have went for that one. This is 10:16. So right now, I paid $274. The ask on it is $264. Not a big deal. But the buy on it right now is $242. So if I wanted to get out right now, 242, 241, cost me 33 cents, so $33 a contract. Put it in for 30 contracts, so we're looking at $9.90. I'd be looking at a loss right now. Because if I try to get out with this type of spread, if I try to get out on the ask, there's no way I'm getting it. Now, if it starts playing in this channel, and here, let's say it can't push through this, when we come back down, I wouldn't wait to see if it breaks this. It comes down here, I'd be in the green, I'd let this go, because this may start bouncing around. It may go sideways. So I'd be all set on that. So we did yesterday over here. We bounced around in there for a while. And with these two so close, if this did pull down, you may see it come down to this area and use that whole area there. So I don't play with it. I would just take what I can get. That's if it pulled down. This could just keep running. On the 1020, bid size down to 235. The ask is going up. Spread is getting wider. 37-cent spread right now. It's crazy. I'd get out of this trade just because of the spread. See if it breaks the stuff. It looks like it don't want to break it. See if there's any news. American Airlines CEO retiring. Intel, what's going on with Intel? See if we can figure out what's the deal is with Intel real quick. Intel plans to take self-driving car unit public in mid-2022. Okay, so I guess it's going to spin off Mobileye. So a lot of companies do this. They'll think when there's pieces of the company that are worth more than when they're worth more in pieces than they are as a whole, then they'll spin off some of those brands. And Intel's been taking a hit. I remember when I was in IT, Intel used to be huge, and AMD was like the value play. And now that's definitely turned around. AMD, Nvidia, those are the leaders. And Intel's just been lagging. Talking about a company that basically just rested on its laurels. Uh, just like with you had your Sears and companies like that. The automakers, Ford, GM, Chrysler, companies get too big and they just stop competing. See if this turns into a flag or if it rolls over. Turn it into a flag, then we should break this level. Haven't heard much about Mobileye for a while though. Maybe it'd be better that they spin it off, let them do their own thing. I don't know what that's gonna do. I don't know where they are in that whole self-driving game though. I know Mobileye was big with Tesla at one point, and I believe they work with a bunch of auto manufacturers, but I haven't heard much about them lately. I hear a whole lot about Nvidia. AutoZone big beat on earnings. Designer brand mixed earnings. Oh, I'm moving the volume on the spot today. It's one of those days when I call it early. Okay. The spread closed out. 5 cent spread. That's good. Still way down, but low volume, barely moving. Man, I'm not counting out a win yet. Right, right on the 7. I'm gonna leave this straight open. The momentum comes in, gets it over this level 468.27, then I'll be concerned. Actually, like I'm on the 60 right now. We're at 2%, 1.96 now. Let's go reverse. Oh, wait. All right. I forgot this. Check on a couple other names. Got Apple. So like the whole market doesn't look like there's a lot of volume. December 7th. Let's do this. The volume's been pretty low. Let's look at. Let's go to on demand. So December 2020. December 7th. Kind of the same thing. December, low volume, wasn't a lot going on. These spikes. Looks like it was end of the day, almost every day. Let's go to LV. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. End of the day. Look at us now. End of the day. End of the day, these spikes in volume. Something to be aware of. So, we may have the same thing. We have a little bit of nothing, and then maybe we'll get a move at the end of the day. All right, let's go back and look. Where were we? We were looking at Apple wasn't doing much. Let's look at Tesla. I saw something about them having some movement today. Big gap up. Now, with where the bands are, where they're sitting, I'd be a little concerned about them coming back down. We'll see how that plays out. See if they can hold above here. With these long wicks, so it wants to push higher. AutoZone. Nice move today. In the gap up. Still going. Let's look and see what else we got going on today. Slacking, I haven't even been keeping up with earnings. Let's see, IMTC. I told you, big move in extended hours. I was just falling. Makes sense. They're not gonna talking about taking it public. What's going on?
Yo, it is in the
And
building.
it's about time.
Yeah, my fault. My fault. What we're looking at? Spy?
Now we're actually looking at Intel right now. Volume's pretty low today on the on pretty much everything. So Spy, um,
Yeah.
looked at Apple, looked at Tesla. I was waiting for you to come on so we can talk about that Apple play.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to talk about because I know yesterday when we were looking through it, we jumped onto the bar chart, we looked at unusual options activity, and that Apple option stuck out. I think it was a
Right.
$165 strike price for this Friday, had crazy volume, crazy open interest. And I think we ended up taking the contrarian position, or at least I
Hmm.
did, because I looked at the daily chart and I was like, oh, with this long wick sticking up to the buy, but then the sellers putting pressure on it, bringing it down, maybe this is prime to pull back. As we
Right.
see, that's not what happened. But here's the learning lesson in that, Guts. Sorry, hold on one second. Here's the learning lesson. When we looked at the news, and I don't remember exactly what the news was yesterday, but it was something about, it was really positive news, bottom line. It was really good news, and sometimes we have to look at what the news is that's coming out as opposed to looking at, well, this chart is saying this. Like that news let us know Apple's prime for a run. And then this morning, a whole lot more good news came out on Apple. They're talking
Oh,
about them
what
being a
came out
great.
today?
And my pops was just telling me about this. It's something about the virtual reality thing
Oh, the
with the
metaverse.
metaverse and how Apple is heavily into that, and they're gonna be pretty much kind of pioneering a lot of things going on in that space. And they received a few new upgrades and a few other things. So it was a lot of heavy good news coming out on it, which has
Okay.
led to this run up. Last time I looked, Apple was at 170 something.
Yeah, yeah, 170
So,
95, 170 63 right now. They got the gapped up this morning, and
uh
they kept pushing for a little while. Now they seem to kind of just be stalling out. You know what I mean?
yep, yeah. So it's a good learning lesson. That's what I love about us doing this and talking through things, because there's always room to grow and change your philosophy and add new, I guess, new concepts to what we're doing.
Right.
So just because we see a pattern, like I said, I saw that daily pattern with the long wick sticking up, and I figured, okay, maybe it'll pull back tomorrow, overlooking the kind of good news that's coming out on it. Apple right
Right.
now is just in, they're having great PR right now, a great PR run, a lot of good news all over the place. And Apple's kind of steam is taking off lately because
Right.
Apple's kind of been trading low volume for a while. It hasn't been one of those stocks where you're really playing it too heavy because it hasn't been moving.
Okay.
But as we see, it's jumped up to 170, which then kind of further confirms that unusual options activity list. That volume and open interest on the $165 strike for this Friday was crazy, Gets. And you
Yeah.
remember, I was like, nah, I'd like to go out to the next week. But look what happened the next day.
Yeah.
It took
Yeah.
off. So all the that volume and that open interest, it was there for a reason.
Yeah.
So sometimes we've gotta, we gotta watch what Lady Market is telling us. We gotta watch what Mr. Barchart is telling us. I just coined that phrase. Mr. Barchart told us. The
Yeah.
volume is there. The open contracts are there. People are buying in heavy, even though this expires on Friday. People are dumping bread, and everybody that was in there yesterday came up. If we would have jumped in on it yesterday and swung it, it would have been a nice come up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think
Definitely would
those
have.
calls were only like 200
Right.
for one contract, so we could have easily dumped some bread into it, got a few contracts, and we would have came out lovely today. So it's all good. It's all good studying though. It's nothing to feel bad about on my end. I actually ended up I took a loss today on Apple because I jumped in on the contrarian play for the put. And
Right.
as we see, that didn't pan out. But what I'm not gonna do is be stubborn and say, nah, it's gonna pull back. Eventually, I'm gonna wait. Now let me go in and get out and preserve some of the principal investment that I put on it and try to put that toward a winning stock or a winning play.
Right. Right.
So that's where we are.
All right. And you know what I'm gonna do? You said it was the 165 or was the
The
strike?
165 strike for this Friday.
Okay. Let's see if I can just look it up real quick.
Hmm. And I don't remember exactly what the price was. I know it was two and some change. And
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna assume with the run up today, it's probably three or four and some change now.
650.
Ooh, 650.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that's on the bid side.
That's on the what side?
On the bid side.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a nice run up today. Okay, it just pushed up higher, 171.08.
Mm,
So it's starting to move again. Yeah, yeah, it definitely yeah, you know, when you short term, you know, just playing the charts for the most part, you know, you can do that. But like you said, going a swing and going against what those options are saying, um,
mhm.
you got to worry about that because there was the news. So
Yep,
we had a catalyst.
yep. We had a
And
catalyst. That's the key.
yeah, yeah, and it was, and you know what, that one catalyst, I don't think would have done it, but all the everything else that came out that you were just talking about, I
Hmm.
mean, that'll do it. You know,
And do me a favor, because obviously I'm not on my computer right now. Go to Yahoo Finance real quick. Like, what kind of news are we seeing right now?
we I was actually just on there, not on the, I didn't um what's going on here? Let's see if I can pull this up. All right, hold on 1 second.
So, what I missed so far, Gets, what you been talking to the people about?
We've been talking about the spy, watching the spy. I got a little paper trade on right now that I'm down on. So
Okay.
we was, you know, going over some of that, and I just started. I was on Yahoo Finance actually. I see, you know, some news came across my phone, so
Hmm.
I, you know, was talking about some of that.
Okay.
Um, let's see. All right, so let's see what news we got going on.
Yeah, let's check out Apple. I just wanna show the people what kind of news we have on Apple to really get a better gauge of what that catalyst is looking like for this run up. Because Apple
Right.
is running.
Let's see.
Apple gets
Apple.
another street high target on virtual reality boost. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm actually wondering if there's something in this metaverse will disrupt human life. I wonder if they got a mention in there as well.
Yeah, here are some companies that may win big. So there's a good one.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Apple Tesla set to rally. We was actually I was talking about this Intel thing too. Um, no, Intel, you know, Intel bought Mobileye a long time ago, and now they're talking about
Hmm.
taking it public next year. So they had a big run up today, and you know,
Okay.
they're dropping back down. Probably they'll probably fill in that gap, but that was another one I was looking at,
Mm.
and let's see what else is going on here. Apple could be the catalyst for VR adoption.
There you go.
Yeah.
and Morgan Stanley boost price target. So that's the key, and
Right.
that's big news. Because VR and that metaverse and all that shit. I mean, that's gonna be like this world is changing. You know, me and my fiance, we were joking about it because back in the day in the 19, in the 90s, in the 1990s, I used to be like, yo, come the year 2000 and the 2010, it's gonna be flying cars. The world is just gonna look like something like some Back to the Future shit, right? But then
Right.
here we are, and it really hasn't happened. Like we've had some really cool technology advances, but there's been nothing in my mind to be like outside of maybe Tesla and the whole driving car, self-driving thing. That kind of was like, okay, this is that futuristic shit that I thought would be a thing back in the 90s. With
Right.
this new VR thing in the metaverse, that whole thing, we are now stepping back to the future with that shit.
Right.
So I mean that's gonna be everything. I think like the world is gonna be changed by the metaverse, and the fact that Apple is gonna be a key component of that. Apple could be in a stage now where we can start playing Apple on runs the way you can play Tesla on runs because it might start moving like that.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, Apple is still trading pretty cheap. You know,
Yeah. Well.
so
Well. The trade after the split, they are. Yeah. They are. They
mhm,
are. I mean, as far
yep.
as market cap, they're up
There
there.
you go with that market cap, gets. It always comes back to the market cap.
It always does. I'm always paying attention to the market cap. But yeah, as far as day trading it, yeah, the price is cheap.
Hmm.
So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's something to keep an eye on. You
Yep.
know, I never really looked at them like that. I've invested in them. And it's crazy because to look at the price now, when not long ago the price was what, one in the 120s.
I
You know,
remember I got Apple when it was at $90.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. You know,
Yep.
um, and I remember when it hit around 125, and it just couldn't get out of its own way. It couldn't get
Hmm.
above 125.
Yep.
You know, and then to see it now over 170 is
Yep.
is crazy. You know.
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, something to keep in mind. AutoZone, I was looking at that. AutoZone just had a blowout quarter. Um,
Okay.
had earnings on that. That was big. Um, stock was way up. I'm trying to think what else. You had Intel, you had Apple, you got AutoZone. Um,
Mm.
the SPY was light today. Actually, one thing I did pull up was I was looking at how low the volume's been every day on the SPY. So I
Okay.
actually went to on demand and
Okay.
I pulled up last December
Mm.
and looked at the beginning of last December, up until the 7th where we're at right now, and it was the same, pretty much the same thing. We had low volume, and then we'd have these volume spikes at the end of the day,
Right.
and that seems to be what's going on now.
Okay.
So that's going to be something to keep in mind, because that may be a way to trade that, you know.
Yeah.
It may be just sitting out the market, you know, early in the day and jumping in late in the day on swings or some quick scalps, you know.
That's a good point. That's a very
Um,
good point.
yeah.
And
So
one thing I did want to mention as well, speaking of low volume, because I even look at a company like Tesla, the volume really hasn't been there,
right.
but we're at the end of the year, gets.
Yes.
So a lot of times once you get to the end of the year, you're gonna see a lot of low volume. A lot of these companies we see Elon's been selling a lot of his stock for
Yep.
tax purposes. So it's just like there's a whole different side to the game that happens around this time of year, and then volume picks back up at the top of the year. So
Yeah.
that's also
Yes.
something to keep in mind.
Right. Right. So then you got to decide: are you gonna just sit on the sideline, or you gonna just move a little different?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't plan on sitting on the sideline, so I may have to just move a little different.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So right now, like I said, all I got on right now is I got this little just a little paper trade. I can't do nothing because of Pete uh
PDT.
PDT. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm so annoyed about right now.
Yeah. I get it.
Um, but yeah, so I'm sitting here. So yeah, this position still the spy's still pushing.
Okay. And
Which
wait, you
is
get a Paulo or put?
I gotta put so what my thing with this was let me zoom in a little bit. I'm actually pull up the five and zoom in. So my whole deal was I think it was down in this area somewhere.
Okay.
Um, so it was basically all right. Let's test the strategy and see. This is risky. Let's put it on anyway and see
Okay.
if this is gonna curl over because that's what it's paper trading. You know, it's about this is about the learning, right?
Yep.
So put this
I,
trade
I
on.
got I gotta I got a whole I want to poke into that, but I want you to explain your shit first. I
Okay.
want you to explain yourself first
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
come
yeah,
after
yeah.
you.
Yeah. So my thing is right. All right, we were going on this run, and I went and I set up. I zoomed out, figured out where we might have some other levels that we need to watch, and we were so high up here with a whole
Hmm.
lot of open space below that there was a chance that we were gonna just curl over and come back down.
Okay.
So I put the put on. Actually, I think it was like right in here, and then we had this red candle. So I was watching this candle to see if it would start pulling down,
Hmm.
and it didn't. That's fine. So
Right.
what I did was though I left this trade on, and at the time that I actually noticed after I bought it, the spread was really wide, and I did say just because of the spread I would sell it. I
Right.
wouldn't hold the trade just because the spread was crazy.
Right.
Um, but and the volume was low, it wasn't going nowhere. But my thing was if it broke this level, which it did now. I haven't been watching because we've been sitting here talking. If it broke this level, then I would sell it.
Hmm.
But my thinking was we may have it may hit this level up here and then come down,
Okay.
which it did,
Right.
but it found support and ran back up.
Right.
So that was my whole thing there. So, but go ahead, tell me, Paul. What was you gonna say?
So when you started this off, Getz, you said something along the lines of I don't remember exactly what you said. I'm not gonna lie, but you said something that suggests that because it's a paper trade, fuck it, let's try it. And I had to put a pause on that because although you're trading with paper or virtual money, or if it's just all in your head, the purpose of a paper trade is to do what you would do in a real life situation and see how it pans out. And if
Yeah.
it's a thing where you wouldn't actually do this based off of what it's set up, then are you really benefiting yourself with this paper trade? Because it's not realistic. You wouldn't actually do that if you were about to drop 3 stacks on that, would you have done it? And if not, then what's the point?
Okay. So here's my thing. If you're a ball player and you're 100% at the free throw line, is all you practice free throws, or do you practice that half quarter shot, half court shot, or a shot from the other side of the court in case of you know a chance to get that hit that buzzer beater? I practice things that I may not trade every day,
Okay.
but the whole point of it is when I see it, I know how to trade it. I'll continue to
Mm,
practice that
right.
thing that is risky
Okay.
so I can understand it. And
Okay.
and yes, I will put money. I will put, and I've said this before. I will put actual money on a theory. And if
Hmm.
I lose that money, I paid my tuition.
You
and
have
I
said
keep
that
it
before.
and I keep
Yeah.
it moving. You
Yep.
know, this is
Okay.
not something where I'm just doing it because it's a paper trade. I just can't do shit else right now. You know, that sucks. Right now, would I have taken that trade on cash? No, but I had a theory and I wanted to test the theory. I
Okay.
always test my theories, whether it's cash or paper.
Okay. I can respect that. I can respect that. I just want to make sure, especially for anybody out there listening, if you're paper trading, don't paper trade and just do wild shit that you would never do in real
Yeah,
life.
nah,
Because then at
nah.
that point, there's no point. You're setting yourself up for failure. But
Right,
if you're
right.
saying you would throw real paper on a theory, and then that's just you paying your tuition if you take an L, then I can respect that.
Yeah,
I got that. Okay.
yeah, I've been paying Harvard level tuition for years. Like it's a part of the game. I don't sweat it.
Word.
And you
Indeed.
just go out and make some more, and and try to
Indeed.
do better
Indeed.
next time.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir. Well, Gear Gets, I think I'm going to have to jump in a second because I don't feel like holding this phone while I'm walking. I'm not going to lie to you. I ain't going to hold you. I'm going to keep
Yeah,
it honest.
yeah. We're gonna be we're gonna go ahead and just close this out while you on here. Um,
Okay, okay. Well,
because
Gear, let me just say, since we are going to sign off, let me just say that, you know, I think this was a great learning tool when it comes to Apple. Apple was a key. We paid some tuition. I paid some tuition this morning on Apple
right,
because I went and I ran off a theory. Like, okay, I see the news. The news is good, but this daily chart suggests maybe it'll pull back tomorrow.
right,
But sometimes that news is stronger than what a chart is telling you because the chart doesn't know anything about the news. The chart is just going basically off the buyers and sellers and the price action. And
yeah,
that price action didn't really account for Morgan Stanley coming out and boosting their target and saying that Apple is the VR hero, whatever it said, and that's big. And we should have taken note to that yesterday because there was really great news yesterday, and Apple was booming yesterday. And then on top of that, this nasty motherfucker just called. Uh, Sorry. So on top of that, when we go to bar chart, the volume and the options activity or the volume and the open interest activity was crazy on Apple. We
right,
kind of dismissed that, or not we. I did. I dismissed that and decided to be a contrarian. I paid for it in tuition fees of $200, but hey, it happens. But now we learn from it for the next time.
right, right,
And again, but it proves my initial theory and strategy works. Go to bar like that was a play we found on bar chart unusual options activity. We found it, we researched it, we saw the good news. Honestly, I should have jumped in on that option or at least gone out the next week. I would have probably still gone out to the next Friday. But
right,
even next Friday's $165 strike wasn't that crazy in terms of price. And I would have came up big today. So yeah, I definitely can appreciate that teaching moment. And hopefully everybody out there can as well.
right,
But Gets, as we always say, you and I, we are not financial advisors. We're just two cats that enjoy investing. We enjoy talking about it, strategizing. You always have to do your due diligence in the market, trade at your own discretion, and do what's best for your portfolio. You feel me? And I want everybody to check us out on the socials. We're putting out a lot of good content that's going to be on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitter. As my man Guest put it out there, you see it right in the bottom left. Bottom left, you see it. Ib
yeah.
underscore gets underscore pod on Twitter. Check us out. We also on Instagram. I love that shit. Ib underscore gets underscore pod. Hit us up. Chop it up
Podcast,
with us.
podcast.
Podcast pod. Yeah, you're right. Podcast. We got to be specific and intentional about the direction, Gets. You're right.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And then also hit us on the Discord. Gets, how can they reach us on the Discord?
Yeah, the link's always in the description. And hit us up on the socials. You know what I'm saying? And
And we'll
you
see.
know, we'll send you the link for that. And we're also on Facebook, Stocks is Talking Podcast with Ibn Getz.
Look at my man Guest taking over some of the promotional tools out here. I see you. That's what I'm talking about. Is growth. That's growth. I love it.
Yeah,
But hey,
man.
folks, we out of here, man. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.